Call the roll.
Key,
Present.
Patrick,
Here.
Black,
Present.
Franklin,
Here.
Wickersham,
Here.
Steinecker,
Here.
You have a quorum. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first on the agenda is citizen comments. At this time, anybody can come up and talk to the city council and myself about anything that is not on the agenda. Any citizen comments today? Mr. Fitzgerald, come on up.
Hi, my name is Scott Fitzgerald. I live at 327 South 20th Street here in Payette. I have a question, Daniel, for you. I know you've been trying to work on it and get it done. Has a fire hydrant got fixed yet? The one that is up there that needs to be fixed that you've been talking about for a couple weeks?
No, I don't believe it's fixed as of yet.
Okay, probably should get fixed pretty soon because this is a lot of people's life on the line if that fire hydrant's not working. And I'm here for you, I'm not coming at you that way. I'm just saying, I know you've asked a couple times, whoever's in charge of doing it should do their job. If they're making their $60,000 to $70,000 a year, go fix it, because if a house burns down, God forbid it doesn't, or somebody gets hurt, there's gonna be a lot more money involved in it than that in somebody's life, that it should get fixed. So I'm trying to let you know that it needs to be addressed, and you are still the mayor. You do got a lot of power. The city manager, I know he's resigning, but.
So the water department has been given a deadline to fix that hydrant, so.
They have, okay. And then another thing, the budget thing, you know how you're all on a budget here with the city and the police department. It's good that they got their vest finally, you know, that got granted on that. That should have been granted a long time ago, but how they don't have a code enforcement and they're doing the best they can. If we're on a budget, the city manager's on his salary, regardless if he's putting in his leave of time when he's gonna resign, he should still be in this office more during the week and be a city manager instead of just popping in and not being there, because I've came in quite a few times and he's sure playing absent. Is he using his vacation time? Do we pay him to go sit and do a bunch of other stuff? We should.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other citizens comments? All right, moving on. Approval of minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the regular meeting minutes of November 3rd, 2025 with corrections.
Second. First and second to approve regular meeting minutes of November 3rd, 2025, with corrections that are to come, I'm assuming. Any further discussion? Anybody have any corrections?
Sorry, on page 2 of the minutes, under, it says approval of minutes, it says a motion was made by Steinecker, and then it says a motion was made again. I'm pretty sure the first motion should not be there. We have 2 motions. And on the next page, it says Counselor Steinecker, Counselor Lori. She's 2 people on that one. Sorry. And I'm pretty sure the date should be the 17th, not the 6th when you sign it.
Any other corrections? First and second good with the corrections they're made? Yeah. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of payables.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve bills and payables in the amount of $265,360.72.
I'll second.
First and second to approve those payables in the amount of 22 cents. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Sarah, I thought we paid ICRAM back in October, and then we're paying some more money.
We did, they came back with an updated premium showing that we still owed.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
What's the monthly reboot for DCS?
Yeah, that's
Something that costs $114.
I'll come and reboot it. I'll turn it on and turn it off.
Mr. Mayor, one more question. Stryker for the land surveying for the airport, that's for which project? Or
Most likely runways.
It was the staking for the taxiways.
for the taxi? Okay, I
The
figured
new
it was
ones that we're
something
putting
like
in.
that, but I didn't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
the staking for that.
Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Black,
Yes.
Wickersham,
Yes.
Steinecker,
Yes.
Key,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes. Motion carries. All right, first item on the agenda, payout number 8, Tappany Inc., 20th Street Reservoir, $103,907.80. This is the last payment.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to authorize payment to Tappany. Do I say that right? Tappany Incorporated for or pay request number 8 for $103,907.80. The final payment. Oh, sorry.
First and second to approve payout number 8 to Tappany Inc. In the amount of $103,907.80 for final payment for the 5% project retainage. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Franklin,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Wickersham,
Yes.
Steinecker,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Key,
Yes.
Motion carried. Next on the agenda, sewer department thinks they need a new service truck. Kevin?
Yeah, our current service truck it's wore out. It was wore out when we bought it, used. It doesn't do everything we need it to do. We're having to go to the county and borrow theirs if it's available for a lot of our projects that we're still doing.
So the biggest thing they do is they pull pumps out of lift stations. They do that stuff when we have a pump go down. The sewer department needs to be able to do that. So this is a general maintenance thing and capabilities. You see in your packet there's a truck in there based on the state bid for $204,900.
That was one of my questions.
Based on state bid.
Okay, I got one more question. Where is it in your budget line item? I could not find it.
So it was not put in as a line item, but as you know, there is $1 million expenditure already in there to loan to the water department. So that's up to you guys. I mean, the water department should have $1 million to send to the note, and then you can send another $1 million out of water next year, not borrow any money from sewer. Sewer does have the spending authority if you guys so wish to fund this,
So that's where you're thinking about taking that, is where we're taking it from, if we do it.
if you guys want to do it.
Okay, and it was a state bid that we
State
went
bid,
off
yes.
of. Okay. Those are my questions.
Was the truck wore out when we were doing the budget?
It was brought up then. and
We talked about it during budget?
No, we spoke about it, and it was one of those things that was not high priority in then, but also we didn't know where water was gonna land. So water has $1.4 million in cash right now, so they'll easily, after the audit, be able to pay $1 million to the note. And then you'll carry that note for a year and then pay the next $1 million. Their cash flow is plenty for that. I just don't think there's any reason to borrow from sewer if you don't have to. Because you're gonna be taken out of the LGIP if you do borrow from sewer, because sewer has less cash reserves than water at this point in time. Sewer, I think, is sitting on about $500,000 in cash as the last report that I saw, maybe it was $400,000. So, yeah, so and we haven't dipped into, I think we dipped into the LGIP with sewer on the lift station was the last thing we would have taken out any money out of sewer.
Got one more question. Kevin, is other departments gonna be able to use this?
Yeah.
I'm assuming,
Yeah.
when they need it?
Jamie, if he needed it for any of his snow plows or anything, it should lift any of that.
Out. And it's new, so we shouldn't have to worry about it breaking down soon.
Right, and
Okay.
it's all, and they said they would certify it every year for the next, I think, 3 to 5 years.
Certified crank.
Have we ever had a new truck in sewer?
Besides running around trucks.
Hang on, even at the street, no.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the new wastewater service truck for the sewer department in the amount of $204,900.
Second.
First and second to approve the purchase of a new service truck in the amount of $204,900. Any further discussion?
Will that include license? Should we make it?
I'm sure they can take the license, if the licensing goes over, we can take that out of the operating budget. Clerk, please call the roll.
Patrick,
Yes.
Key,
No.
Wickersham,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Steinecker? Yes.
Motion carries. Kevin gets a new set of wheels. All right. Proposed disadvantaged border town, proposed ordinance and proposed location. Jim, you're up.
We've talked about this for a long time, so I put together a proposed ordinance to declare an area as disadvantaged border community area. It's the same part of Idaho code as urban renewal, so plays by the same rules. The proposed area is something that is coming out of the urban renewal agency as a proposed area. It's kind of up for discussion, so that's it. So up for discussion. So fire away.
So Jim, do you know what kind of, does this put any limitations on us? Because we've got a downtown committee that we've been working with too. I love this process, but I don't want to be limited by what I can do as far as grants or anything like that too. Do you know what it does for that?
No limits. I would call this a complementary project for what you're doing to pay for some.
I thought, but I don't want to step and get in something that we get limited by what we can do with it.
I think it'll be an advantage in applying.
Yeah, I kind of read that way too, but you haven't seen anything that said this would limit us to being able to go after any kind of grants or anything.
Absolutely.
The only limitation that this really does put on the city is that it takes the area out of the mayor and council's purview. So it puts it directly to the urban renewal agency as the board. They get to make the decisions. They spend the money. They do it all. And there isn't.
As far as taxes.
That's why any expenditure out of the urban renewal district
Oh,
is
okay.
just done by that board.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it does take it out of
We
the.
still govern downtown.
No, yeah. No, we're talking about the remodel or the
Yeah.
whatever
Just
we
like
call
the
it.
urban development, right?
Yeah, it's the same exact thing as we have done with Sixth, right? That would be your only limitation is that it will not, your improvements would not be governed by the council or the mayor.
Well, it's an interesting thought. It's not the way that I read it, and we probably should talk about that some more. Really, I think it's a complementary plan so that we could pay for some of the things on Ray's plan, but the urban renewal agency is limited to pay for it's using tax money, so it can only pay for things that are for the public good, which is what's gotten other urban renewal agencies in trouble is the new sports stadium really the public good? I mean, the public uses it, but so we'd have to be careful about how we're spending it, and I think it would pay for some of the things on the current downtown plan, but probably not all of the things on the current downtown plan. And I think our priorities have to be set differently so that we have the most affordable things up front that will make the most difference in generating private investment, because that's the whole idea, is to generate private investment so that we can build up some funds to do the more ambitious projects further down the line. And an example of an ambitious project might be upgrades to the pool.
Because that falls within that window. So how would that work, Jim, if this started along the process and then we were able to pull one of those grants? Or do we need to really kind of look at this both ways? Because then you've got money in the urban renewal, although that urban renewal area is wide enough, I guess there's more than one thing we could use that for, right? Because you're talking about the pool and other things like that.
Yeah, this would be authorizing us to create a plan, and the plan would have a list of things that we plan to accomplish, like the 6th Street project was the last thing on the current plan. And if a grant paid for one of those things, then we just skip to the next one.
But isn't having a plan a good thing when you're going after grants?
Yeah, I think it would solve a lot of problems for that too, because we have a plan to refer to when we're applying for grants. And there's been, I think we're all aware, there's been a ton of plans for downtown since I was in high school. Because we've generated a plan for downtown. The issue has always been paying for it. I think we have an example that the urban renewal process works. It's not fast, but it works. So this would get us on paying for some of those things.
I have two more questions. So I know the historic district, the Weezer guy came and talked to us about making a historic district. Could you have a historic district in the urban renewal area?
Yeah, I don't see anything preventing that, I suppose we could get.
Historic district doesn't have anything to do with taxes. So.
Okay, so they could,
What was that question?
would you still be able to have a historic district within this urban renewal district?
Yeah, I don't think those would conflict. There is something though, I think we need to know if anybody has property, anybody that's sitting in here has property that's located within the proposed zone.
Yes.
Because you're not allowed to take part in the deliberations or in voting on anything that goes on within the urban renewal area. It's 50/2017 is the code that goes along with it. So it's just saying that if you own a property interest or you control a property in there, you can't vote on it. So when action's taken, in this discussion, we were talking about how the interplay, I don't think that's an issue, but when it comes to a vote on anything, if anybody up there owns property within that district, which would be me.
And
And I was thinking maybe you did because your business down there. So I don't think when you were saying something about being on the board and helping make this, I don't think you would be able to take part in
Well, I'm
the
not talking about that board. I'm
Okay.
talking about the downtown.
Yeah, you'd be able to
Right,
be
but
on
if the
there.
downtown revitalization board is having a say in this, you wouldn't be able to take a part in that because of
Right.
your ownership.
Yeah, no, the downtown revitalization board, our design is almost shovel-ready and completely
And it's-
separate.
It's not, just to clarify, it's not only a present if you owned an interest within the preceding 2 years also. That's part of it. So if any of you guys have any property 2 years prior or presently.
Since
then-
1976.
So just spitballing with this though is
Two other little, oh, go ahead.
you could just appoint the downtown revitalization board to the urban renewal district because they're still short people, and then that way it just makes that one board in this plan.
And Bobby had a,
Well, I have a couple questions, and I asked Jim just because I wanted to know. In this ordinance, the proposed ordinance, it says prepare a comprehensive urban renewal plan, implement the urban renewal plan. Well, the urban renewal is over next year,
The district.
the urban renewal district, but if you do an urban renewal plan, and I'm hoping they're listening to me, then it's a lot more complicated than, you have to go through a whole procedure of forming an urban renewal district. So once my main question is once the urban renewal district is disbanded, then what happens to this disadvantaged border community area?
So there's two separate things to the code the way that I read it, and then maybe you guys will clarify this. There's an urban renewal agency, that the agency now, after 2018, whatever the date was, has to be voted in by the public, okay? That urban renewal agency still exists today. The urban renewal district that's sunsetting in July next year, that is separate from the agency. So the way that I understand it is you can create another district under the agency because the district and the agency are two separate things. The agency's in charge of the district.
I agree with that, and that's what Boise does, because Boise has one urban renewal agency and they have a bunch of urban renewal districts.
Districts are done by the ordinance and the resolution sets forth the agency.
There it
And
is.
the agency was, but I looked into it, and it was in 2005 that we had the agency and it was done correctly. The only thing I couldn't find was the exhibit A and B that gave the description, but later you passed an ordinance that then had the comprehensive plan in it, or the urban renewal plan, I'm sorry, and in that it had the exhibits, so I was able to see. So this is all within what you already have in your plan, it's just designating a slight area in, so I don't know that you'd need to go forward with the whole, we gotta redesignate an agency, because you already have the agency, you're essentially modifying what that plan is to say.
I guess that's not my question. My question is this going to be an urban renewal district with the map that we have in our packet? And if it's an urban renewal district, then do we not have to go through the whole process again
You just have to, I believe it's a 30-day notice requirement that you have to get. If you don't have to go reestablish the agency, which is.
Not the agency,
what
just
you're
the
doing.
district.
Yeah, and you have, you can change it, so they set it for 20 years. They don't have to go and reestablish everything and do a whole new 20-year plan. If you wanna modify it and designate a new area that's already within the area, which this is already within the area that you designated in 2005 by ordinance, you said, this is going to be the renewal agency. This is a section of it that you're trying to focus on, and when you call it a disadvantaged, it actually should be a competitively disadvantaged border community area. We need to make that change in it. And then what that allows you to do is there's some different revenue allocations you can do with taxes. But I do want to look into it a little more, because I think if we're going to notice this up and you do want to do revenue sharing later on, like the tax revenue stuff, if that's what you want to include in this, then you're absolutely right. You have to go through that full, give 30 days notice. It has to be at least 30 days, no more than 60. And I think you have to give notice to the people that are within that taxing district of the hearing that's coming out, so they can come out and participate.
Well, I'm curious too.
So I want to make that's a big distinction when we're talking about this disadvantaged border area. And if you're going to use that revenue allocation, then I think we're going to need some additional notice and language in our proposed ordinance.
I agree with that, and the intent of this was to declare an area, the disadvantaged border community area, and authorize the urban renewal agency to move forward on a plan.
So we already have a downtown plan, so.
This would be a complement to that.
Okay, so I mean, because you're talking about other areas like a pool or some other thing you want to include in that, do you have to have individual plans spelled out? Or what do you have to have?
Yeah, the rules for urban renewal, and this plays by the same rules, are really specific that you have to have a plan, execute the plan, and then it's over. You can't, like, there's no wiggle room. You put down what you're gonna do, and you accomplish that, or you don't accomplish it, and the time runs out, and then it's over.
And if there's other strings attached to it. If it's going to be over $1 million for a multi-sport complex or for a municipal building, then you have to get 60% voter approval. So I think this is a good way, like Jim's saying, open up the discussion to it, and then once I have a little bit more about exactly what you guys want to do, we can figure out exactly what we need to notice up there and include in it.
Yeah, from my standpoint, I think there's a little bit more I want to know about, because I don't want to get our locked into where the other path we're also taking. I don't want to get that blocked out.
Yeah, and I haven't looked into that angle of it. I don't see anything that would foreclose it. I think, just like you say, it's separate allocations of funds.
Especially the border kind of thing. I think we fit that so well that probably better than any town I've ever seen. But I want to make sure that the urban renewal thing doesn't overlap or conflict with some of the stuff we've already got done and in place and already have a design for. So.
Is the plan something we can write, or will we have to contract that out?
The code says that anybody can write the plan, so we don't have to contract it out. We can get help, like Caldwell did. They paid a consultant.
An economic feasibility study might be required if you're going to go down the revenue allocation plan, I think. It was pretty dense what I was reading today, so I'd like a little more time on it too. But
So I got one more question. I just want to make sure I understand. The urban renewal district that is formed right now, not the agency, the district, that goes away in 2006. They plan, 26. 2006 is when we did it, 2026. So that district goes away. This is just another plan for the agency. Okay,
this
I
is
got it.
essentially,
Okay.
you actually had a bigger district in the first one that you're in. This one's actually a smaller piece of that district.
And it's including that too.
Yep, and it's included,
Yes,
yeah, so it
okay.
all fits.
I just wanted to make sure I understood it that way. Okay. Yeah, a lot more information.
So ultimately, it does not tie your hands for grants at all. It doesn't. I mean, you're going to be, especially with the disadvantaged board community, it's going to open up a little bit more access to potential funds. You're able to borrow money to do improvements based on what your tax revenue is going to be in the future. So that's a big thing. You can do improvements upfront on borrowed money, pay it back with the incremental taxes that are created. The only downside to an urban renewal agency or district within an agency is that it takes the decisions away from the council and mayor. That's it.
So I'm still gonna ask, you just said something that made me not understand it totally then. You said to form another urban renewal district.
It's another district. Yeah. It's gonna be a whole new district.
Formed by the same agency.
You can't just change the district because the district's sunsetting. You're gonna create a new urban renewal district for the agency to manage.
And focus.
And that doesn't have to have voter approval or anything.
No, because
Okay.
you've already got it within that one, and it has to do with whether or not you instituted it before July 1st, 2011, I believe, and you guys instituted it in 2005. So since you did it then, you don't have to get the voter approval. If you were to come up in 2011 and do the same thing, that's why as soon as this got passed, it looks like you guys came out with a resolution, and the city came out with a resolution and ordinance in 2005. That way they didn't have to get the 60% voter approval later on.
Is this, okay, so you have the disadvantaged border community, is that a separate piece from that's two different things? You have to declare that and then you declare the urban renewal?
This is like the first step, yeah. This is allowing the urban renewal agency to create a plan.
The proposed disadvantaged border community area is the same thing as a urban renewal district. It's just a different name and it gives you a couple more things you can use to get stuff fixed.
Yep.
It opens up some doors within the statute to get more money availability. The shared revenue, I'm not a huge fan of shared revenue getting pushed from one to the other, but I am a big fan of the incremental tax.
I guess I'd like to look at that.
Yeah. Essentially, the agency declared all of this stuff and said it's deteriorated, and then within it, you can have a border area as long as it fits all the other requirements. And then you do have to give a little more notice because there's the ability to do that tax revenue allocation, which when I was reading through the tax allocation revenue stuff, I don't know how exactly that applies. That's a little bit beyond my understanding. I think I'd have to talk to Dave or somebody, whoever, to understand exactly how that goes. But there is more
something I
notice.
really want you to understand and us to understand before we step into it.
Yeah.
Because this is not a short term, this is a long term thing, so we want to make sure.
Ray, just to be clear, this is just declaring an area as a competitively disadvantaged border community area.
Okay, so that's step one.
That's step one. And then after that is creating the plan of the tax increment finance district. But we have to take step one before we can get step.
That's what I was trying to get pinned out, those two separate things, the border community.
Yep.
Okay.
You wouldn't be able, unless you take this step, you don't even know who to give notice to that would be the affected tax folks until you designate an area. I guess that should be.
This is just the council agreeing that this works.
Yeah.
Then it goes back to urban renewal, they work on their plan, then that goes to planning and zoning, then planning and zoning sends a recommendation to the council, then the council ultimately approves the process. That is it is a process.
Yeah, so I think, go ahead, Lori.
So, you were talking about getting the downtown, who's on the urban renewal board?
Me and Mike and Jeff Williams and Barb Show.
Okay, and so, are you able to add more people, like from another?
Oh yeah, that came up earlier, right?
Yeah.
Bobby mentioned the Economic Development Committee that was created. We've talked about making the Urban Renewal Agency and the Economic Development Committee the same.
Nice.
And there was also, the downtown committee.
Yeah.
I don't know how those two would mesh together, but we could certainly talk about that.
Okay.
I mean, how many are on that committee right now, right?
8.
You got 8?
In my mind, the next step is having Evan and Rachel give us either a resolution or an ordinance, whichever is appropriate, because Bobby brought up a question about whether an ordinance or a resolution was appropriate, but
You just said ordinance.
It's for a competitively disadvantaged areas, you gotta do it by ordinance.
so having them give us an ordinance that declares this area a disadvantaged work and authorizes the Urban Renewal Committee, like the sample did. It's just that was me and Chat GPT, it wasn't an attorney.
say go for it. Anything to help our town, I think it's a good thing.
I do too. Especially under the parameters that's just been discussed.
Yeah.
That's-
So is that all we need to do? I authorize,
I think that's the next step, and then the work begins, because we have to develop a plan, and the plan has to go through the process that Daniel.
so that's an official motion is I authorize the urban renewal district.
We're letting them look at.
Yeah, I would wanna revise the ordinance as written.
That's not really an ordinance.
So I don't think the ordinance actually gets passed until the end of this, the process that I read. The council just needs to authorize the urban renewal district that they agree with the lines, and that the urban renewal district can start putting together a plan. That's the way I read the statute, I could be wrong.
I agree with
Yeah,
that, it's
I
just
mean-
whether you do that by resolution or ordinance.
Well, yeah, whenever you designate it, it has to be by ordinance when you come to the final conclusion on it, so I can reword what I need to reword in this, as long as you're approving what's in Exhibit A, and that was one of the things I think, just we don't need a legal description or just a map of the designated area, and we need to have an exhibit on the actual page that follows, and I don't know if this just didn't get spaced down, but technically there is no Exhibit A sitting on what I'm looking at.
It definitely needs cleaned up by,
Yeah.
I would agree.
But if you wanna send this on for further discussion with go on to the next stage, I can fix all of this before you guys have a vote on it. And we just have to give at least 30 days notice before we enact the ordinance with the final language that we want in.
So we're moving forward.
So there's a motion, do I have a second? Or so moved. This is the way that I understand the motion, okay? There is a motion for urban renewal to move forward with the disadvantaged border community with the map stated and create a plan to create the disadvantaged border community area plan. Does that sound right with first and second?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, there's some department reports in there. Any questions there? No questions, council comments?
I have one. So, I don't know, I think everybody in here knows, but if you don't, we no longer have a hot tub at the swimming pool. Ours is old and is not able to get parts for it. So I am going to do a fundraiser for the month of December. We need to raise approximately $15,000 for a hot tub. I chose December because any of you that need a tax write-off, this is a phenomenal one. Checks can be made out to the city of Payette. It will be designated for the hot tub. And I'd sure like to have everybody, if you can afford $20, $100, whatever you can afford, we need that hot tub back. So call me, come see me, talk to me, whatever. But let's get it done.
Perfect. Any other council comments?
I wanted to congratulate the winners of the election, and I want to say I look forward to working with all of you to continue building a brighter future for Payette. But in an effort to ensure all future candidates follow campaign regulations, and going back to my motto of when you know better, you do better, I would like to offer all future candidates a training. Here I am educating people again, because some basic rules this time I noticed weren't followed, like there were signs in the right of way. Not all materials had the markings of who paid for them. Some candidates still haven't filled out their sunshine reports, and not having campaign items in or 100 feet close to the polling stations. So I think it would behoove us to at least have a pamphlet that we can hand out to future candidates that says, here, now that you're running for public office, don't do these things, but please do these things.
Doesn't the Secretary of State have a
They do.
They do. Do you know how many people read? I'm a teacher. I know how many people read.
maybe we just make that part of the application process?
Okay, something. Yeah.
That's good.
When you know better, do better.
Ready?
That's it.
Bobby?
Well, I have a question since it was brought up about David Tate's resignation. Is that true?
He is not resigning.
He has not resigned, okay. And then, any update on a building inspector? Cause I see it's not on there anymore.
Yes, offered a job. Starting date is 2 weeks, I think.